In the final photograph, nothing looks out of place until you look closer. A father and his daughter stand side by side, posing with firearms laid neatly across a table, ammunition scattered in front of them. The girl wears a Harry Potter t-shirt, the kind of thing you'd expect from any 12-year-old. It's ordinary, almost comforting, and yet in hindsight, it feels deeply wrong. Because by the time that photo was taken, investigators would later say she was already planning to kill him. On the night of September 20th, 2022, in Poolville, Texas, that quiet image became a before and after line no one could ignore. The child in the photograph, 12-year-old Emma Brown, would shoot her own father just hours later, then walk down the family's long driveway and end her own life with the same weapon. Her father, 38-year-old Daniel Brown, would survive. Emma would not. Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to the Brown residence after reports of a shooting. When they arrived, they found Emma lying in the street, several hundred yards from the home, suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. Inside the house, her father was discovered with a gunshot wound to his abdomen. An emergency responder at the scene was overheard saying, "The daughter just shot him." Daniel Brown was rushed to the hospital and would later recover from his injuries. Emma was also transported for emergency treatment, but she succumbed to her wounds 2 days later. The Tarrant County Medical Examiner ruled her death by self-deletion with a gunshot wound. At first glance, the incident appeared to be an unthinkable family tragedy, but as investigators began piecing together the timeline, a far more disturbing picture emerged. According to the Parker County Sheriff's Office, Emma had been planning the attack for several weeks. Detectives uncovered evidence suggesting her intentions extended beyond her father. Authorities believe she had planned to kill her entire family and their pets. Even more alarming, Emma was not acting alone. Investigators discovered that she had been in communication with another 12-year-old girl from Lufkin, Texas. The two juveniles allegedly discussed their plans in detail. Both intended to murder their fathers. Afterward, they planned to flee together to Georgia. While Emma carried out her plan, the Lufkin girl did not. She was taken into custody and later charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Officials have never publicly disclosed how the two girls met, nor the full extent of their communications. One detail investigators emphasized was access. Daniel Brown was legally permitted to store and sell firearms from his home. The weapons involved in the photograph and ultimately in the shooting were lawfully owned. At the time of the incident, Emma was believed to have been preparing for bed when the shooting occurred. In the weeks following the tragedy, the Brown family's rural property was quietly altered. A gate was installed at the entrance to the long driveway. A sign was posted, "No trespassing." A physical boundary placed around a place that had already become emotionally unreachable. Officials stressed that the case carried broader implications. This case is definitely a time to remind parents that it's very important to know who your children are friends with. Whether that's in the classroom, social media apps, Snapchat, TikTok, or gaming platforms. Because this was not just a story about violence. It was a story about influence, secrecy, and ideas shared quietly behind the screens. About how planning can happen in fragments, messages, photos, conversations, long before anyone realizes the danger. In the end, a father lived, a child died, and a photograph remains. One last frozen moment before everything unraveled. And it leaves behind questions that resist simple answers. How does a child arrive at a point where murder feels like a solution? What warning signs go unnoticed or unseen? In a world where childhood now extends deep into the digital shadows, how much can be planned in silence before tragedy finally speaks?